Hey everyone, Micah here with Electrek, and today we're reviewing Rad Power Bikes' newest e-bike, the RadExpand 5. Let's check it out. The RadExpand 5 is the newest model from Rad Power Bikes, the largest electric bike company in the US, or actually North America, and, well, probably most of the rest of the world depending on how you count it. The RadExpand 5 also comes with a new price, and you can grab it for the lowest current price with our link in the description below. Thanks again for helping support our channel to make these kinds of videos. We try to keep it fresh, concise, and interesting, and the RadExpand 5 is interesting for a number of reasons. It replaces the previous Rad Mini and Rad Mini step-through bikes that we've tested before, and combines a number of Rad's other components and performance features into a new e-bike style. For starters, that performance I mentioned will sound familiar to anyone who pretty much knows anything about Rad. That of course means a Class 2 e-bike with a max speed of 20 miles per hour, a rear hub motor with a 750 watt power output, and a removable battery with 672 watt hours of capacity. Depending on how you ride the bike, such as pedal assist versus throttle, you'll get somewhere between 25 to 45 miles of range from that battery, which is pretty par for the course these days, and should be more than enough for most recreational riders and city commuters. On the design side of the bike, that's where we get into the real mashup of different Rad bike styles here. On its surface, the bike seems like a step-through Rad Runner e-bike, and it kind of is. It's got that convenient step-through frame that makes it easy to hop on and off, and which is becoming a favorite of mine. But it's also a bit lighter than the Rad Runner, with a total bike weight of 62.5 pounds, which, yeah, is pretty heavy, but it's not a killer, especially compared to some of the really heavy e-bikes out there. And that extra weight helps make the bike robust enough to support a max load of 275 pounds, meaning it can fit a lot of rider shapes and sizes. The rear rack is included with the bike, and it's not as robust as the Rad Runners that's built into the frame, so you're not going to be carrying any adults back there, but you could definitely get a kid's bike seat on back, no problem. There are other differences compared to the Rad Runner 2 though, like the inclusion of a 7-speed drivetrain, meaning you can actually run through the gears if you'd like. I know folks that live in hilly areas seem to be a fan of these things, even though I personally tend to leave my hub motor e-bikes in the top gear most of the time anyways, but it's nice to have options, I will admit. The 4-inch fat tires here are also a departure from the Rad Runner and return us to Rad Mini territory with true fat tires. The fat tires allow you to choose what type of surface you want to ride on, opening the door to off-road excursions when necessary, which is a big part of a do-anything urban e-bike. And considering there is no suspension fork up front, the 4-inch fat tires help it retain an almost suspension-like ride. Considering the amount of riding I did off the beaten path, there were times I couldn't even tell it didn't have a suspension fork. That's how helpful those fat tires are. Plus, of course, the biggest difference compared to the Rad Runner is the fact that this bike can fold, meaning you can more easily carry it in an RV, a boat, car, or maybe drag it on the subway with you. Basically all the typical advantages of a folding bike. Now you can of course fold the RadExpand 5 all the way, but if you just want to fold the handlebars, it actually makes it nice and narrow. It's something that I like to do if I'm sticking it in, let's say, an SUV or a minivan, and I just want it to slide down between the seats, because instead of having the bars out real wide, they lay down right next to the fork and you get this narrow bike. I have noticed a couple other changes in common Rad parts too on the bike. For example, the previous Tektro brake levers that Rad used to use on everything that had a built-in bell, they're gone on the RadExpand 5 and have been replaced by these brake levers from Radius. They work fine, though I wonder if Rad still uses the same brake pad material in the disc brakes, since they don't seem to have quite the same immediate stopping power I've experienced on other Rad bikes with Tektro mechanical disc brakes. But they're definitely still fine brakes, no issue there. The thing that did bug me a bit more was the placement of the bell. Without it housed in the brake lever like on most of Rad's other models, they had to stick the bell on the other side of the display and remote, meaning unless you have freakishly long thumbs, you've got to loosen up your grip and slide your hand way over to reach it. Makes me miss that old bell. Speaking of the display here, it's the same that we find on the Rad Mission and Rad Runner, and I find it to be just fine. Yeah, you don't get bragging rights for every time you hit a 1,000-mile interval since there's no odometer to keep track of your mileage, but it gives you your battery and your pedal assist level info, plus the light status, which is pretty much all the info you really need on an e-bike. So while many people will call this bike a folding rad runner, I'd say there's more to the RadExpand 5 than that. Not only do you get included fenders for free, plus that 7-speed drivetrain, an included rear rack, LED lights, and those nice fat tires, but you get an even more accessible bike. You do have to spend a couple $100 more for it though. Despite debuting for an awesome promotional price of $1,299, it's now back at the apparently more sustainable price of $1,499. That's still a good price for what you're getting, especially when you consider that it includes support and service of a massive e-bike company with a massive customer support team, but I'll agree with you that the promotional price was certainly even sweeter. Nevertheless, as a replacement to the popular Rad Mini, the RadExpand 5 comes out of the gate swinging with some nice features, some nice cost-saving areas, and a great ride.
Thanks for watching, everyone. We hope you enjoyed that review of the RadExpand 5. If you did, why don't you give this video a thumbs up? And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any of our future electric vehicle videos. We'll see you here next time.